9 o'clock, and joining us on in studio is John LeMay, and then joining us on the phone this morning is Donna Blake Birchell, both authors and getting ready to storm the Historical Society on Saturday morning. Good morning, guys. How's everybody doing?
Good morning.
Can you hear
Good
me?
morning. Doing great.
Good, Donna. Are you down in Carlsbad this morning, or are you off at some other part of the state doing stuff?
No, I'm still in Carlsbad right now.
Okay. I don't know if you're off on an adventure or doing anything like that, because for folks that don't know, when she's not authoring, she's out adventuring to make the next thing she's authoring. So, which is really cool. Of course, John's equally in both of these two. You know what? This is the joke I use. Donna Blake Birchell is the John LeMay of Eddy County, and John LeMay is the Donna Blake Birchell of Chavez County. Yeah. That's a good comparison, right?
Oh yeah, Donna's.
I'll take that one.
She's way more ambitious than I am, though, because she actually drives out to these places, and most of mine I've never even been to.
He's like, I've never been there. Billy who? Yeah. That's funny. But of course, for folks that aren't familiar, both John and Donna have quite extensive libraries of books, many of them dealing with Southeast New Mexico and stories from there. John, a lot of his stories focus on some of the Lincoln County stuff, Lincoln County Wars, Pat Garrett, Billy the Kid, some of the side characters for some of the Lincoln County Wars. Matter of fact, his latest book is one of those side characters, actually. And then Donna, she covers everything from ghost stories to wicked women to just various little-known places and adventures around Southeast New Mexico. So between the two, they kind of cover it all from a historical angle here, I think. But we would love to invite everybody out. So to the book fair tomorrow. Now, I'll let John, I've already explained it once or twice, but I'll let John kind of explain what's going on at the book fair tomorrow.
Yeah, so, our first book fair was a big success.
Yeah.
And what happened after that was people started donating books to us with the knowledge that we'll take the books that we don't have, put them on our shelves, and the duplicates we will sell.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the books from this recent sale we're going to have tomorrow are basically all new acquisitions that people have given us over the past 3 or 4 months.
So these are kind of ones that people gave us the intent saying, look, if you got a copy, these are here to help raise money for the Historical Society.
Exactly. And
cool.
I say that just because certain people like to make claims that we're going through our library and selling valuable books when we're not.
Yeah. The only ones, I mean, don't get me wrong, some of these books are valuable.
Yeah.
But trust us, we've got it covered. Don't worry. The Historical Society keeps the best copy of the book in the archives for preservation and for future generations. These are extras. Now, don't get me wrong. The archive facility's got a lot of space and a lot of areas where they're hiding and keeping treasures. But there's only so much room. And so if you've got a dozen copies of a book, and then you got another dozen copies of another book, that's going to eat up a lot of space that, quite frankly, is just not available there at the Historical Society.
Yeah, Dr. Huckabee and I yesterday were actually just talking about that, saying we need another bookshelf because we're getting way too many books.
Yeah, which is a good problem to have.
Yeah.
This is a great thing. But there's no point in the Historical Society keeping half a dozen copies of a book. Yeah. They just need the one. And John, he keeps the good stuff for the Historical Society. So if he gets 3 copies of a book, he'll take the one that's got like the best spine and everything gets in best shape, keep that. But if the other book's got, say, a better dust jacket, then guess what? He's taking the dust jacket off that one, putting it on the spine of this one, and keeping the best all the assets on that book. And then he'll put together the other books and make them available at this auction tomorrow.
Yeah.
But so don't worry. The Historical Society is not giving away the farm. It is not, in all essence, they're keeping the good stuff and giving you guys the leftovers. That's what it's going on tomorrow. But it's a good thing. Now, that doesn't make it sound, don't take it like the bad connotation, like you're getting the leavings off the floor. It's some really cool stuff. It's just the Historical Society's got it already. So that's basically what it is.
And speaking of leftovers, we have books that didn't sell at the last sale. So the good news is like if you missed that last sale, those books are now discounted because they didn't sell. So the prices are going to be even lower this time.
Nice. Now, if you're going to hold out for a third time, you may not make it. So if
Yeah.
you see it this time, pick it up while the picking's good. Just saying. Don't be like, well, maybe it'll be around next time. Well, maybe it won't. Then you're out of luck. Are you guys doing the mystery bags and all that stuff this time?
We will, yeah. We've got a $5 mystery bag. You get 3 books. You don't know what they are, plus a little tiny Peter Herd print.
Excellent. And so every time you pay for that, you get a guaranteed value there.
Yeah.
And I know that you're helping out the Historical Society. So if you want a little fun there and do that, and you can pick that up. I know we've talked about in the past, you guys have also had books that aren't necessarily valuable. They're just old. And if for people that like to have books for like decorative on shelves, do you guys have plenty of that for this sale, or is there less of that this time?
You know what? I'm glad you said that because I didn't put those out this time.
Okay.
It's mostly what we have in excess besides the New Mexico history books that everybody wants. Is we have some just general U.S. history books.
Okay.
And that kind of is what took up most of the table space.
Okay.
But if you are interested in, like, let's say buying those old books for the covers in bulk, just ask us about it, and we can run upstairs and get them. And make a deal,
So if someone specific will get you. So if you are looking for that, just talk to John or Donna or any of the people that'll be there. Those two might be busy engaging with folks, but some of the other folks will be there to help out. Help out with that. And of course, the other cool part is Donna and John will both be here, both signing the latest books and all of their books if you bring them there to them. Will your other books be available for sale at the book fair too? Or just your new ones?
Amy broke out every single book that Donna and I have ever written that's in stock in the gift shop, so it'll be there. But Donna and I are mostly going to promote our newest books, which are unusual in that both of these new books are geared more towards younger readers.
Very good. Yeah. Now, of course, Donna's latest book is the Ghostly Tales of New Mexico. It's a children's book. Tell Donna, tell folks the inspiration behind this latest book.
Well, actually, it's an adaptation of my ghostly or haunted hotels book.
Okay.
And the Arcadia Publishing came to me and said, "Hey, do you want to do this adaptation?" And I thought, well, that'd be great. I wasn't sure on how this would go around and do it, but we.
You still there, Donna?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
And so anyway, they put together this little book for children, and it's a great mix of stories and also of history. And they've taken my stories and they've made it so that the little ones can read it, and it's a great companion to the adult books as well.
I would imagine too is like you say. The companion to the old books. I would even argue that some adults that might get their foot in the door through the children's book. You know what I'm saying? And they might,
Absolutely.
so they're kind of come because then you can kind of, because obviously for kids, you kind of, the details and some of the information scaled way back for a children's level. But if there's some adults that, sometimes they get into history books and they get lost in the details and maybe they learn some of these stories at the children's book level. And then the ones that kind of caught their interest here, they can do a little bit more digging through some of your books geared more towards adult readers. So
true. Yeah.
So I'm curious with the ghost story books. Was that something you're into, or is that something that got put onto your radar and it just got into it? Because you kind of, like you said, you've got where John's got his little niche with Godzilla and stuff like that. Yours is kind of in the ghosts and all that kind of stuff, right?
I do enjoy them. It seems to be going that direction. I had a couple of encounters along the way, and it got me to thinking, and it got me pretty interested in it to see if anybody else has had this kind of thing happen.
So have you had some what we would call paranormal experiences while you're out investigating or researching?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what started the Haunted Hotels book.
Okay.
When I was working at the library in Carlsbad, I went up to Las Vegas, New Mexico, and stayed at the Plaza Hotel.
Yes, that notoriously, famously haunting a hotel in New Mexico. Yeah.
Right, right. So I thought, well, I had done a little bit of reading, of course, and I thought, well, I'm going to test this out. And they say that the ghost likes to pick on women who travel by themselves, and I was at the time. And then he especially liked red-haired women. So at the time, I was redheaded.
So you were fetching. This paranormal was fetching. Find you quite fetching.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. But that evening, when I got into the room, I always felt like something was watching me.
Yeah.
And that was unsettling. But I thought, well, I'm just making this up because it's just something I read.
Sure. Yeah, our minds easily play tricks on us, but I don't know. Our guts and intuition tell us so much sometimes that we don't even realize. You know what I mean? Like our guts and stuff tell us things, and I think it's one of those things. Like even if we're not aware, cognizant in the brain, call it what you will. God, spiritual. I don't know. There's something out there that you just can't figure out yet. We haven't figured it out, and to me, that's what I love, because I'm one of those folks that when I see the paranormal shows, I believe all that's possible and all that. Now, some of the shows on TV out there, I'm not sure if I buy. I think there's a lot of staging and a lot of theatrics done there. But that I still believe that stuff exists. Like I still believe people go into these places and capture a voice or a cold spots and feelings in rooms that have no business having cold spots, things like that. Something's out there, something's going on, and I don't get many times where people have experienced it firsthand. I always see it through a third medium here. So it's great for you yourself having these personal experiences. To me, it lends credence to it. It's like, oh yeah, see, there's someone you trust that's actually felt the oogies or felt the things of which we see on a TV show sometimes. So to me, that makes it cooler for me to like have someone experience it a little bit. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah. So I imagine for you to experience it firsthand, whatever skepticism you may have had probably went away pretty quick once when firsthand something's chill up the spine or a voice that captures or whatever that you come across. So.
Yes, it went away very quickly.
Yeah.
And then the terror set in.
So I'm curious now, has it expanded your interest to do more investigative type stuff, or are you sticking with just the research?
I'm doing research.
Okay.
I don't see myself as a medium or anything like that.
Okay.
I just, I feel like I may be sensitive to this kind of thing.
Okay.
And I feel things, but that's about it.
Gotcha.
I'm not going to say.
I didn't know if you're going to try to collect evidence or anything and get out there with your DAT recorders and the 7-layer videos or whatever, the heat sensitive, all the magic tricks they use to try to capture paranormal stuff on recordings. So
no.
Although, if I were you, I'd at least turn your phone on while you're walking around these places. Turn your recorder on. You never know what you pick up on that thing, just to see, while you're walking around exploring it. I don't know how many times I've watched like some of those shows and they just have the recorder on and they ask questions and they don't hear nothing. Then they go back and listen and they'll pick up a voice or something like that. You never know. You might find something weird just sometimes just doing that.
That's true. Very true. I've been in some weird places, so.
So okay, for the latest book, The Ghostly Tales of New Mexico, I obviously I don't want you to tell the whole story here, but I do want you to share like one of the nuggets from the book or one of the highlights of one of the stories in the book.
Well, one of them is from Carlsbad, the Trinity Hotel here in Carlsbad. Used to be the First National Bank building. It was one of the first buildings built in Carlsbad in 1892.
It's a beautiful facility.
It is. It's gorgeous. And then it was it held the newspaper for quite a few years, and also the CID building, which is the Carlsbad Irrigation District building, which is where Pat Garrett had his office, and also Charles Eddy and them.
Okay.
But but it kind of went derelict for a little while, and we had a family come in, the Balzanos, that came in and they revamped it totally, spent millions on it, had to go through hoops and everything to get it done. And I was so thankful, because there had been talk about knocking it down with, that would have been awful.
Yeah. I'm surprised it's not a historical landmark registered and all that stuff. Oh, it is now. Okay, good.
Yes. And that's going to stay that way.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere for a while. Barring a natural disaster, it's not going anywhere. Yeah.
Right. And apparently, one of the ladies that worked in the second floor of the irrigation department, her office was on the second floor, and she was very possessive of her space, of her office. This was hers. And so when they remodeled, they made them into some beautiful hotel rooms, and she still sticks around. Recently, they had a patron come down to the front desk and ask, well, we really need some more towels. And, well, I thought we had towels in there, but they are on the top of the window. Now, those windows are 12 to 14 feet tall.
Whoa. So it's not an easy feat to just throw them up there.
Right. And so they had to get a ladder to get down these towels down. And she has a tendency, her name is Ruby. They brought in a paranormal group from Arizona, and they identified her as Ruby. And she hides in a storage facility up on the second floor, where in the dining area. Mm-hmm. And she has a tendency of not liking women for some reason. I don't know. Rumors that she was shot by a woman.
Okay.
There's all sorts of stuff going on. But she has pushed people down those stairs. Those poor girls have to go up and down those stairs to bring food to people. And then she's talked to, yelled their name. She's turned down music. She's kind of a little imp.
She's a little interesting.
Yeah. And she just, she's very protective of children. And then there's another one called the glass breaker. And he has a tendency of just knocking an entire shelf of glass off onto the floor sometimes when he gets upset. So, yeah, it's fun. I'd like to do a book about other things besides, just hotels.
Sure.
The ghost stories that we have in there, because we've got a ton.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah, and I would imagine I would guess, depending on the facility, the nature of some of the people that still reside there might be different. Like if you go to an old hospital or an old, any place where bad things happen, like maybe a jail or a prison, I imagine you're going to get a whole different set of things than you would, say, at a house or a hotel, unless something tragic happened there. You know what I mean? Right. And then you wonder, too, and this is where I don't know where this, a lot of times these haunted places, it's because some kind of major event happened there, and then some argue it's like an energy impression. Others saying no, it's a no, that's a living, breathing, interacting thing we're talking. Well, I say breathing, but interactive type thing. But and there's debates on all that. Maybe there's both out there where like sometimes you go and you hear voices and things, but what you're actually hearing is almost like a loop in the energy, so to speak, where you're almost catching a conversation from 200 years ago that took place here. You know what I mean? So you get some of that going on in that world, and then some, like you said, people that are spirits that interact. They talk to you. They do things and do stuff. So it's very, very fascinating for some of this stuff, and we don't know the answers, but I think there's enough evidence to say something's there. It's not all hype and smoke and mirrors. There's something there, whether it's this is a thing where they're just looking for the light and haven't found the light yet, or if it's maybe they're in their version of hell. I don't know. It's kind of interesting, but I think it's cool because of the hit. Like we talk, and now I know we're just talking. I think we got to get to talk to John here, but it's two different things, paranormal and history, but one can't have the other without, you know what I mean? You can't do paranormal without studying the history of why it's paranormal, you know? And
Right.
and then on the other side, how much history do we discover because of paranormal? You know what I mean? How much of it, like, why is this haunted? Then you do your digging. Oh, that's because of all this history of this place. So I think one needs the other sometimes to succeed.
So true.
Yeah.
So true.
All right, John's been sitting here waiting quietly. We got to give him a chance to
I'm
talk.
on all the time.
He is, but I do want to give him a chance. Now, and Sean actually talked to John last time when he was in promoting his book, but his latest book is called The Noted Desperado Pancho Dumes, and this is so basically is this the story of the guy that stole the Powell's tombstone?
No,
Or is it?
So not exactly. I mean, the
Okay.
tombstone really did get stolen
Yeah.
twice, but he's a fictional character I just made up. So,
Okay.
yeah, but it is based. It's kind of like what Clive Cussler does with his Dirt Pit novels.
Okay.
Takes real historical mysteries.
So this
and
is all novel form. This
Yeah.
is it's fiction based on history.
Yeah, so you'll
Gotcha.
still learn history as you read it. It's
Well, I love stories told in this way. I've always been a Mark. I don't know if a Mark's a fan of. That would be the more because he's not trying to dupe me. It's just do you know Michael Shahara and Jeff Shahara? Michael was famous for writing the book The Killer Angels. He got the Pulitzer Prize. That got turned into the Gettysburg movie that Ted Turner did in the 90s there, if you remember. But so he wrote that. He also won a Pulitzer for a baseball book and things like that. But when he died and that movie kind of got resurgence there in the 90s, his son Michael picked up the baton, and he actually wrote a prequel to Killer Angels called Gods and Generals, which they made a movie that did bad. And because it did so bad, it didn't get the third book, which was Last Full Measure, which covered everything after Gettysburg. But the reason I bring these up is they tell the story of the Civil War, the battles there, but it's all through fictional dialogue between historical characters. So the dialogue between General Lee and General Longstreet, yeah, it probably went something along those lines. But as far as the story, the drama, how's the kids doing, all that stuff behind it is all made up. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you kind of get the feel of the ideology of the people at the time, what some of the actual events were. The semantics is in the did they really say this or believe this or whatever? That's up for debate. But so your book's kind of in that probably same vein, I'm guessing, where the characters per se may or may not be real, or the dialogue of what their thoughts and actions is interpreted, but what they did and who they did it with or how they did it, that's all historically correct.
Yeah, and I earlier I called it a kid's book. I guess I should clarify the main character is 14.
Okay.
And it's appropriate for anybody over 12.
So a teenager would probably relate to the main character better
Yeah.
than an adult would. But that being said, adults will enjoy the book.
You
as
should
much as
remember
kids.
what it was like to be 14 and just laugh at it. So,
Exactly. So you're hearing the story through the eyes of a 14-year-old's brain,
Yeah.
basically.
yeah,
That's-
so it's intelligently plotted at an adult level, but it's like appropriate for
Okay.
kids. Nothing inappropriate if you're like over 12. Is
Okay.
kind of what I say.
So is he a kid that's living in the late 1800s here?
So the book
what's
is actually
what's the story
yeah,
here?
The book is set.
Although
in-
I see a car on here, so
Yeah.
I'm thinking that might be off-putting or
Yeah.
off a little bit. Here.
So the tombstone was stolen in 1950,
Okay.
right after a visit from Brushy Bill Roberts.
Okay, so the 50s era is
Well, what I'm saying is like, okay, so it was stolen in 1950, but it got returned in 1976.
okay.
So this book takes place that year in 76 when it got
Okay.
returned.
All right,
So
so-
it's a big deal. The tombstone
So
came
right
back
there at
into town.
the centennial and all
Yeah,
that. Okay.
and so like the main character basically learns that it's like a clue and a lost treasure type thing, and so he's got to steal the tombstone in the middle of the tombstone race that Fort Sumner's putting on, which is they actually do a tombstone race. Donna and I went to that a couple weeks ago, and
People are dying to check it out.
yeah, Donna. Well, actually, yeah. Well, you say that, but so Donna and I, we got there too late, and we just drove through the parking lot. Every spot was taken, so we had to look at it from a distance, and all we saw of the tombstone race was this teenage kid puking in a dumpster. because I mean, it's hot. He has to run with
Yeah.
a tombstone replica. It's
I feel
really
like
hard.
a tombstone's not light. Yeah. So basically, it's an endurance run that kind of raises awareness for the history, and
Yeah.
they probably use it as a fundraiser.
You throw
effort for
the
community.
tombstone over a hurdle, and then you jump over the hurdle, pick it up, take
Okay.
it to another hurdle.
So it's really like a Ninja Warrior thing with tombstones kind of deal. All right, cool. So basically the story takes place 70s in that time, and it's kind of the event. That's pretty cool. So, is this your first adventure into real novel form? Because everything else I think you've done is all historical, accurate, or documentary style subject matter.
Yeah, that's true. So what's funny, I mean, I only just now published it, but I started writing it back when I was 19.
Okay.
So it's been in the works for a long time. And I would have finished drafts and I would let them sit for a few years, then come back to it. And
Okay.
I just now finally felt like it was right.
That's right.
So,
You were telling me this is the one that you've basically been writing since you were a child.
yeah, and I want to throw in too that the cover is by Logan Pack, which is really cool.
It's a beautiful art here.
Local Roswell artist is mainly why I bring that up.
Yeah, there's the cover art there. Please excuse my fingers, but but yeah, it's a beautiful. It's got a you know what? It kind of has a vibe of the Grand Theft Auto artistry.
Yeah.
If you ever look at some of the game, I'm sure you haven't played it, but I mean, as far as that imagery almost has that Charlie's Angels because it's 70s.
Yeah.
So it evokes a lot of Charlie's Angels that 70s genre feel to it, like 70s action dramas kind of thing. It's got that feel of that. Like I could in my head, I'm hearing a lot of waka, 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 disco music going on. But good news is you can get a copy of this book tomorrow at the book fair. I do want to, we talk about the book fair happening tomorrow. If you want to support the Historical Society, there's many ways to do it. When you come out, obviously shopping at the book fair tomorrow is a great way to do it. But we've been also in our loose change drive. So bring your loose change by if you want, and we'll take it right there. We've been filling our Coca-Cola bottles all over town here. Ours needs a little help, actually. I was looking, and I don't think it's been added to it in a while. I joke coins in there every once as I walk by, but it needs more eyeballs to get on that one to fill up. But bring your loose change out to the event tomorrow, and we'll collect that from you if you've got your little jars or piggy banks or Ziploc bag, whatever it is. We'll take it, and maybe put it in something. If you just got like a handful, I mean, we'll take it, but it might be a lot of trips for you if you've got more than that. But we do appreciate all of that. Of course, you can go if you can't make it tomorrow. Shame on you, but just kidding. I understand. Life's busy. But if you can't make it tomorrow, please visit the Historical Society's website, roswellnmhistory.org. You won't be able to get some of the rare books we're talking about that are available at the book fair tomorrow, but all of John's books, this one and all the others we talked about, all of Donna's books, many other our local authors and from the region here, Elvis Fleming, all of his books, things like that. If we have copies of them left, those to be honest, those are starting to get a little scant, aren't they? The Elvis Fleming books there's not as many.
Just certain ones.
Certain models are getting a little.
Yeah. And on that note, we do have, I think, 2 Roundup on the Pegasus that are signed. So if you want one of those, they're there tomorrow.
Okay. But like I said, we lost this great man a couple years ago, and that's going to make these things more and more rare now because they're just harder to find. He's not with us to create new materials and things anymore. So please come check that out. But check out the website, roswellnmhistory.org. Get the Peter Hurd prints. If you love those, you can get them through our website. Also, you can learn more about becoming a member of the Historical Society through there. And you can do that Saturday. Come out tomorrow. Talk to Amy. She'll be happy to give you all the details
she's
about
actually
membership.
going to be gone, but we'll still have brochers that we can hand out.
And
if
John can
anybody's
help you.
interested.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, and I imagine we'll have some folks there that can help you with all that information. We have some great people that serve on the board and used to be on the board and still, and I'm sure our Jane Englands of the world will all be hanging out and keeping us honest. But it really is a lot of fun. But if you can't make it, check out the website. Please support that way. And then don't forget, too, while you're there, check out the archive facility if you need that. If you got an event or something coming up or a business meeting or small little reception or something. I think it seats about 75. It's got a full kitchen, but we rent that out for folks too. So while you're there looking at the books, check out the facility, and if you think it might work for your next shindig, let us know. We love to rent that out to people. It's another way to help support our historical society, because that house right next door, that's the historical landmark, and it's an old house. And guess what old houses do? They need a lot of maintenance. They need a lot of work. The weather, and especially in southeast New Mexico, not the kindest to houses and things. So by you supporting all this, you're helping us do that too. So come on out. So Donna, anything we want to let folks know about what you've got going on here, other than come see you tomorrow? Any other things you want to put on people's radar that you got working?
Oh, well, I'm working on a book, thanks to John, called Tall Tales and Half Truths of Clay Allison.
Okay.
That's been a lot of fun, and he's collaborating with me on that one, so I thank you very much for that book. We've also, speaking of paranormal stuff, coming up in October, John and I will be we'll be doing a lecture series on paranormal stories, on ghost stories at the museum as well. So look forward to that.
Yeah.
And I'd also like to do a big shout out to Amy for putting all this together and for being such a great supporter of our work. And I really appreciate your time and your efforts. She's an absolute treasure.
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure the Historical Society for Southeast New Mexico wouldn't still be here if it wasn't for Amy McVeitea. She keeps the doors open, the things going, keeps everybody on task. She really does a great job of serving the Southeast New Mexico through the Historical Society, among other things. She's involved she wears several hats and does a lot in our community, but absolutely. And of course, and I would also say she couldn't do what she does without you and John and folks like you too, because you're the ones that's out there preserving the history, researching, doing all this stuff. Without the services of folks like John and Donna, like yourselves, where does this history go, you wonder? Would someone else pick up that mantle, or does it get lost to history? You know what I mean? It's like, how many generations are going to learn about the antics of the Lincoln County War or some of the tales of the West here without these books being out there, because who else is covering it? It's kind of, it's a great thing. So it's everybody's does a great role here, and we do appreciate it. So I'd love to folks come on out, come meet John and Donna, come check out the old books, come especially if you're a lifetime resident in this area, you maybe seen some books and you want to take a trip down memory lane. I imagine the Historic Book Fair will probably evoke a few of those feels in you when you come out and start going through the book stacks and all that good thing. So come on. And then now, Donna, is there a place to I know we always steer people to the Historical Society for your books, but do you have a website where folks can check out all your books and everything you're doing?
Actually, I do not have a website, but I am on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay, so look for Donna Blake Birchell on Facebook and Instagram.
Correct.
Awesome. And then, John, I know your stuff's on Amazon, things like that, but do you have a website devoted to your stuff?
No, like you said, I'm the Donna Blake Birchell of Roswell, so I don't have one. I
just look for John LeMay on Facebook.
Amazon, just on Amazon, I have an author page, and you'll see everything I've ever done. So.
Very good. And of course, he also dabbles into the sci-fi world too with his Godzilla. He takes the historical eye to it, like he does with all of his historical stuff. And to me, that's the part I love. Like weirdly enough, the Winning Time. There's a show on HBO called Winning Time, and it chronicles when Magic Johnson joins the Lakers, and kind of when Dr. Buss and all. So it kind of chronicles that right around 1980s, late 70s when all that went down. I'm not a huge basketball fan. The Lakers, I don't care about. It's not something I'm into. But the stories behind the stories, I love that stuff. Yeah. And so I enjoyed that series so much, even though I could care less about basketball or the Lakers. But I loved that show. And that's where I think like your Godzilla books are. It's like, Godzilla's cool and all that. But to hear the stories, to see how it evolved to what you know it to be, I love that. Yeah. And I love those. And I don't care if it's a topic I'm interested or not. I love the behind the scenes, how it's done kind of thing. So bring it on. More of those books. Love them.
Oh, thank you.
Anything we missed? Anything that we wanted to share that we didn't get a chance to?
I don't think so. I think we covered everything. Like you said, you got the loose change in there.
Yeah.
So.
And again, tomorrow from 10 a.m. to noon at the Historical Society's Archive Building, 208 North Lee Street. If you have any questions, 622-8333, or just come on out tomorrow. Like I say, it'll start about 10, and they'll wrap up about noon there. And come on out, mystery bags, rare out-of-print historic books.
Mm-hmm.
They're not so rare that we don't have doubles, though.
Yeah.
So relax. and then come meet Donna and John and come check out their latest books. Again, for Donna, it's The Ghostly Tales of New Mexico, a children's book. And then John LeMay's newest novel called The Noted Desperado Pancho Dumes. And like you said, it's good for everybody, but I think your teenagers might gravitate towards this book because it's kind of told through the brain of a 14-year-old.
Yeah,
so.
like The Outsiders.
Yeah, very cool. Excellent. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate the visit.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll see you this weekend.
Thank you.
Safe travels up north here, Donna. Don't get abducted by ghosts or aliens on your way.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
I don't know where that
Looking
line
forward.
is from ghost to alien, but be careful wherever it is. So. Thank you, Donna. Have a great day.
You too. Thank
All
you.
right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, that was Donna Blake Birchell. Thank you, John. As always, appreciate your visits, and we'll see you next time here. And come on out this weekend and come check out all the books and stuff. So appreciate it, John. It is